My name is Dave Samec, Chief of Facilities at the National Gallery of Art, and I'm only going to speak probably for about 5 to 8 minutes, and it's all going to be picture slides and then also a little bit of a video that I put together for us. But what I wanted to talk to you about was some of the flood proofing, or I call it flood prevention projects that the gallery did since the 2006 flood. We haven't really been tested, so I'm not sure if they're flood proof at this time. So let me show you quickly, and this is the map, I think, and I'll go quickly through this since most of you are familiar with these maps. But National Gallery of Art is located right here. The east building, there's a connecting link which is underground that connects the east building and the west building. The west building, or the building with the dome. Here's the Natural History Building next door with the dome as well. Then we've also got the National Sculpture Garden, which is right here, right there where the pointer is the fountain being converted to an ice skating rink. So after Veterans Day, we'll have ice skating for all of you. So what's of concern here is the water, the storm, both flood and storm water actually approaches from the west to the east. So it's coming down Constitution Avenue here. And so our greatest vulnerability is certainly from the west. So we're less concerned with the sculpture garden, which is, you know, most of the stuff we can survive. But certainly when we hit the west building, that's where all the priceless art is located. So just like here at the archives, we want to make sure that the art stays dry. So and I'm pointing this out to you because as I go through the next few slides with pictures, we're looking at this area right there, which is the lowest point at the west building, which is 7th Street and Constitution. And first step we did is after the 2006 flood, which the gallery only had flood in that sculpture garden area or water ponding. Basically to the west of that was the 9th Street tunnel. So the water came up kind of high there, but it didn't really reach our area in the sculpture garden. So we hired a surveyor consultant and had a professional come in, and they surveyed all of the west building as well as the connecting link and east building. But a major concern to us was the west building. So took off all the flood elevations. Then we wanted to analyze, well, what's the most vulnerable to the gallery itself, based on what art we have located, egress, paths, where the parking garage was, so on and so forth, and the way the ponding levels were predicted. Now, again, it's a case-by-case basis, but for general purposes, this is where we felt that our greatest vulnerabilities were. So this area here is where I'm going to be showing you where we did some flood prevention measures during the recent hurricane. Over here on the far left, just, you know, that's the Shadar Fountain, the cobblestone on 4th Street, okay, so this is all underground actually between the two buildings, okay, certainly not that we don't want to protect that, but the highest risk we felt certainly was coming from the west. So then the third step was, okay, here it is 2006, what do we do? And I'm sure there was consultation probably with FEMA or the Corps. Well, the gallery decided to use water-filled cofferdams, okay? Why? It was probably one of the better products that was on the market, maybe a good sales pitch. I'm not really sure why, to be honest with you, but this was one of the pictures, I'm sure. You see this guy here, and there's some sort of river flooding next to him. Looked good to us, okay? The other thing was these water-absorbing gel bags, because we're like, where we could get sand downtown, we don't really have, like, you know, a bunch of sand sitting somewhere, and I don't know how much we would need. So they went with these water-absorbing gel bags, and just so you know, because I'm not really going to brief much more on that, they're flat, okay, it's a sandbag, but it's flat with gel in it, and then when you either dunk it in water or you soak it in water, it'll expand and it'll get about that thick, okay? So that's kind of a good simulation of what it would look like, okay? Now the idea a lot of times is you put these in an area that's already wet, and then you try to, you know, build your little wall underwater. That wasn't our plan. Our plan is to somehow get water into them and then put them where we need them, okay? So when we talk about the gel bags, that's what we're talking about. So we went back to our map with the elevations. We came up with a plan. And we showed where all the sandbags would go and how they'd have to be stacked. And then we showed where the what we call those Aqua Dams are. And that just happened to be the brand name of the black fabric dam that we procured, where all those would go. So these are the 7 locations that I showed you on the previous slide. And we put together this drawing, okay, and then we have an accompanying, like an O&M manual with it, and we gave it to all of our key folks at our operations, our maintenance, our security, safety folks, so they all knew, you know, what was going on if this ever happened. Well, fortunately, nothing ever happened until about 2 months ago, right after the earthquake. We suffered, well, we were preparing for Hurricane Irene, and it was actually fortunate being on the distribution list, Amy's distribution list. I don't know who was doing it here. It was Fetmanu or somebody was saying, hey, like, you know, we might get, you know, 11 feet of water here if this is the worst case scenario. So we went ahead and we decided to go ahead and implement our plan. So we had caches of these Aqua Dams, okay, and there were 7 total, and they were custom made for those 7 locations. They were stored at our warehouse in Cheverly, Maryland. And we went ahead and brought them over the Thursday before the hurricane was supposed to hit on Saturday. And we trucked those in, so of course we had to have a vehicle to bring that in. We also had to have a forklift to take these things because they're pretty heavy when they're all rolled up. And then we pre-positioned them wherever they had to go. This happened to be that Chidar fountain I was telling you about. And so we put it in position so that it could be easily unrolled. And we did the same for the sandbags. We had a cache of sandbags up in our, believe it or not, it's in our attic area of the west building. So we put a little kind of fireman bucket team, and we formed a line, and we started pulling these boxes of sandbags down, and we put them in the various positions that we needed them. So these would be helping to reinforce the 6th Street and Constitution entrance, and these happen to be, there was an air intake over here that we wanted to have these sandbags for. And we just left them pre-positioned there. We wrapped them all up with plastic, knowing that if we don't need to use these, let's not waste these things, okay, and protect them, which we did wrap them in plastic, and then we never really got to that point where we needed them, so we put them all back up in the attic. And this is a little video clip I put together to kind of show you the way this the way these Aqua Dams work, because you could see these certainly on a YouTube video, and I was going to do that, and I said, well, why not do it with the one we practiced on? So this is right off of 7th Street, as I mentioned, the moat. So we're fortunate, we have a moat wall around our building, and it was intended to hide different things from the public, so when they look at the gallery, it looks just perfect all the time. Well, inside this wall here, okay, it's about a nice 10-foot wall. We have a lot of stuff hidden back there, but certainly there's entrances. And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to put a dam across this wall entrance here. So it was all manual labor. We unroll these things, put them in position up against the wall. We connected a water source, and if you saw that plan that I showed you, we showed where all the fire hydrants were for the facility. We put in a 3-inch fire hose, hooked it up to the Aqua Dam, and then we just started filling it up with water. Certainly if you're in an area, as the Corps knows, like if you've got a flood there already, just pump the flood water into the dam. There's no need to use potable water in it. And this particular dam, as we found out, because we never did this before with any of these, but it was the right dam for the right location, okay? It was a lot longer than we anticipated, so we ended up having to roll up the ends, kind of like, you know, if you think of a sock or something, we rolled up the sides and shoved them in the corners. So it paid to practice this, actually, for Hurricane Irene. And it filled up in 2 areas. It kind of fills up one side first and then fills up the other side. There's 2 nozzle entrances. And here it is, just about completely full to what we needed, okay? And you can see here's where we had to take the extra and just roll it over and shove it in the corner there. And then we just tied up the nozzles. The reason I'm kind of showing you this nozzle thing is what we ended up here was filling this up to about 18 inches, and I'll show you the slide right after that, because that's what we felt we needed to get to the 13-foot mark, because we were here in 11, 12 feet, you know, and well, let's get up to 13 for a little bit of safety in there, you know, and protect the gallery at that point. So this is what it looked like from the outside now when it was finished, okay? So we put in this Aqua Dam here. The idea is that the gel bags or sandbags could be used on the edges here to help tighten that whole area up. But we went from elevation of 11.5 to 13 in that. We felt that that was adequate to prevent water from coming in. There happens to be a lot of entry points right on the back side of here. There's an elevator that goes down into our utilities and into our central plant right there. So this was an important place for us to reinforce and protect. And so what are the lessons learned that the gallery had? They do work, at least we think, okay, they did. I mean, we were able to make it happen. It does take a lot of practice, okay, because we found out that the nozzles were built for somewhere in probably Louisiana where they were manufactured. They weren't necessarily geared towards what connections we had. So we had to have our plumbers go through and redo the nozzles on them, so that took time. So we have 6 more of these we have to retrofit to what we have at the gallery. So don't wait for an event to happen. You need to, at least practice with some of the stuff to see if it works. And there may be other alternatives, as some of you have already mentioned. I'm thinking here in 2011, as I started Googling this stuff again, what else could you use? And you I think, mentioned it, that there's other stuff out there that might be easier to store, easier to move, will still keep prevent against the hydraulic pressures of the flooding at our level. And again, we're kind of lucky we're at the top end of the bathtub of the Federal Triangle, so we're looking at maybe 1-2 feet of flooding, worst like 500-year storm type scenario. So that concludes my portion, and there's my information. I think we'll take questions at the end.